Hey everybody, welcome to Valentine's Day, Fab Fit Friday, yay! Happy Valentine's Day, everybody. Not a huge holiday in my house, but my husband likes to say we have Valentine's Day every day, which we kind of do, so I don't know. As long as I don't have to make dinner tonight, I'm super happy, and yeah, so that's me. Hi Victoria. Hi Desi. Ed is your husband. It's kind of confusing, I know. It's okay. I'm good with that. I'm glad you're here. So I really struggled. I struggled and struggled. I spent a few hours trying to get my colored strips of fabric in a way that I felt like I would actually wear them. And honestly, I couldn't do it. It's too much color for me. Not that I don't love color, but I was having a hard time. I may actually, next time I see my granddaughter, if she likes the colors and the strips that I'm working on, I'm going to actually offer to make her a little mini, because she's tiny, a little skirt for herself. So we'll see if she likes it. If she does, I'll make that for her. Let me just stop and say hi to Polly. Hi, Polly. Windy, Massachusetts. It's kind of windy here in neighboring Connecticut. I pushed my newsletter out this morning. I meant to have it done yesterday, and that also got behind schedule. So if you subscribe to my newsletter, it's in your inbox. Check it out. There's some things in there that are kind of fun, and there's a to celebrate Valentine's Day, I'm offering 20% off my patterns and workbooks. The coupon code is SML for so much love, and 20, SML 20, so you can check that out. If you've had your eye on any of my patterns, it's a good time to get them when they're on sale. Let's see. Hi, Janie. Oh, so Desi, am I saying that right? Desi is in Florida. Liz is from Clearing Cross, I'm guessing Ontario. I finally got to watch you live. Well, I'm so happy you're here. Oh, and there's also another person, Jay Mannon from Windy, Massachusetts as well. Whew! Yeah, I skipped hiking this morning because I was working. So I think after I finish my live today, I'm actually going to go hiking, but I'll bundle up. I'll put my little cashmere hat on that I knitted, and I've got my fun leg warmers that I made out of fleece. I put these on so that the snow doesn't bite my ankles. So I think I might go for a hike after Fab Fit Friday today, since I skipped it this morning. All right, so I am a little disappointed that I couldn't get those colors to work. You know what I mean? I was really hoping to make them work, but they didn't for me. But like I said, I might make that skirt for my granddaughter. But let me just show you what I switched to. Oh, you pronounce it like Debbie. Okay. Thank you. Thank you for telling me that. Debbie's with two S's. It's the 70s here. That would be balmy, the 70s. Oh my goodness. Debbie's. Okay. Thank you for helping me pronounce your name. Okay, so I went back into my stash. I didn't want to buy fabric for this project because I really feel like some of you watching might be diving into your stashes to try to find fabrics to work on to make this strippy skirt. So I went back in my stash and I found a fabric that's practically vintage. I must have had it in my stash for more than 20 years. It's a flocked no Desi. No, it's okay. Just Desi. Oh my goodness gracious. All right. I'll get to the bottom of that. I promise. All right, let me show you what I have here. I'm going to zoom in, and I'm going to make the thing just a little bit lighter so you can see some of the detail of this fabric. It's a flocked, and actually before I get into this part, let me show you just a piece of it. Okay, so I've had this in my stash. I thought it was pretty when I bought it. And you can see it's a mesh, and it's got a flocked floral design. And if you look at it from this side, the flocking is kind of a light color, but then also I think they tie-dyed it. So if you look, there's different places where it's darker and lighter. And then if I flip it over, you can see it's got a completely different look because the back side of the flocking is a darker on, which I'm guessing is the wrong side. So I've got this side, which looks like a fabric, and then if you flip it back over to this side, I mean, it's the same fabric, but it has a different look to it. So I thought, wow, a fabric with multiple personalities can work just like a bunch of different fabrics cut up. So what I did was I made 3-inch, 4-inch, 5-inch, and like 2-inch strips of this fabric, and I sewed them together. And then to sew them together, last week I just did them on my sewing machine, and that created sort of, someone used the term shabby chic, which is totally what it was looking like. And you know, that is a thing, like to have sort of a, you know, a not so finished look. And lots of people like that. Let me just get my camera to move my camera over just a little bit here so I can see what I'm doing. Oh yeah, that's much better. Hold on. Oh, there we go. So what I did was I actually used a flatlock stitch to sew these strips together. And the beauty of the flatlock stitches, after you pull it, you know, once you stitch it, you pull it and it lays flat. So if we look at some of the area that I didn't, you know, that I didn't finish pleating yet, this is the reverse flatlock side, and that's going to be the inside of this. I kind of like having the bolder flatlock side of the stitch on the public side. But basically, it's nice because the stitch ends up laying flat. See, so it sort of lays against the fabric versus a serged, you know, 3-thread, or I tried a rolled hem and that just looked a little bit natty. So the flatlock stitch here was a really nice choice, I think, because it's polished, it lays flat, and I kind of like the way that was working out. And so then what I started to do is I literally started to pleat it, and you can see here, I'm just gonna move myself over. Oops, sorry. I'm gonna move, no, I'm not gonna move that. I'm gonna move this over here so I'm kind of tucked up out of the way. So what I started to do is pleat it across. And then as I was pleating it, I kind of got another idea that I didn't share last week. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to sew down the pleats not to an under piece of fabric. So last week I was pinning my pleats to the fabric that would be the facing. I'm going to make shorts, and I'll just show you. I've already cut them out. This is my wonderful, soft, cozy performance sports knit. It's got a smooth, silky feel on the right side, and on the wrong side, it has a plush brush side that's very soft against the skin. So I'm gonna make these shorts to go underneath my skirt. So I'm not gonna put anything, I'm not gonna sew anything to this as I pleat it, and I want to maintain the stretchiness of it. So I'm not gonna stitch across back and forth like the original skirt had. And I'm just gonna bring that back in here to show you what I'm talking about. And you guys must have gotten your Threads articles by now. I mean, your Threads magazine by now, because I subscribed to it and it did come. So let me just look here and just see if I can show you the detail. So if I zoom into this picture, see if I can just zoom right into it, and maybe, I don't know if you can tell from the picture, but the way I stitched down the pleated fabric on the facing was I went across this way. So it went across, and this one obviously does not stretch. I don't want to do anything to this so that it prevents it from stretching. So if I sew down each pleat, then it won't really affect the cross stretch. Now, one thing I was thinking about here is that I think it would be fun, instead of stitching down these pleats to like a certain amount, I'm going to stitch down and I'm going to create sort of a zigzag length. So some of them will be longer, and then it will get shorter, then it will get longer, then it'll get shorter. So it will control how the fullness opens. So underneath where I stop sewing, it will release, and you'll have this nice, you know, fluttery skirt at the bottom, but it won't. But what I'm going to do is, like, let's say I'll sew to here, then 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 I'll sew to here. And at this point, I'm going to go back up, and then I might go back down. So I'm going to make like a zigzag in how far down from the waist I sew the pleats down to control the fullness. And I think that can add some interest to the skirt. So that's what I'm going to do. And then because I'm working on it like this, and I don't have anything underneath it to hold it as I stitch, I'm going to just start with what I have here. I'm going to just neaten up some of my pins and maybe add another row of pins down here. And then I'm going to show you how I'm just going to stitch down the pleats. And then once these are stitched down, we'll pleat up another section. So I'm going to do this in sections so I don't create a mess. And one of the things I'm paying attention to here as I pleat is I want to make sure that as I pleat, everything, the fabric falls nicely below the pleat. So I'm just going to make sure as I'm pleating, you know, everything is laying nice. Like, see, this one up here kind of fell apart and there's no pleat down here. So I'm just going to go ahead and, you know, fix that. And I've got my pins. And then we're going to go to the sewing machine. I was going to play with doing a decorative thread on here, and then I kind of felt like there's so much going on, the black thread was working, so I just used a plain all-purpose black serger thread. I'm really a fan of the Madeira serger thread. Hey Barbara, you're very late, but you love to see. You're not that late. It's not even quarter after yet. I'm explaining how I did not like the way the colored one that I worked on last week was coming out, so I switched my gears to this fabric, which I describe it as having multiple personalities, meaning it's a busy fabric, and cutting it up and then sewing it together, I flipped the right and wrong sides. You know, I flipped from right to wrong side, so the flocking shows right side up and then wrong side down, or right or wrong side up, and those two sides look different. All right, so I'm just gonna, this particular pleat right here was giving me trouble yesterday. It's funny how I'm still trying to wrangle it into something that looks like it'll release nicely. So here, let me get this one pinned back up. And sometimes I pleated, you know, using the serged edge or the flat locked edge, and then sometimes I pleated in the middle of a flat locked edge. This, I still don't like this. So now you'll notice, compared to last week, I'm taking my time because this is the real skirt. Like, this is really what I'm doing. So I just want to take my time and make sure what I'm doing is going to look nice when it's on my body here. All right, so I've got to here done. I'm going to put another one down here because I feel like that's just not, maybe I'll plan here, I'll plan it going up. Like as I go zigzag up, I think I'm going to zigzag up on this one so it releases earlier up because I don't like the way it's laying. It's kind of a weird, it's got its own personality. So like it's funny when you try to pleat up fabric, sometimes it fights you like where you're trying to pleat it. So I'm just sort of playing with it and trying to get it to agree with me in a way where I think I'll be happy with the way it looks. All right, so I think this section here that I have is good. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick it up and put it in my lap, and then I'm going to swing my sewing machine over like this. And then I think I have, oops, let me just make this really so it's easy to see. Oh, Victoria's saying, I think the fabric is really prep for a skirt. Pretty for a skirt. Thank you. And then Barbara says, I do like this fabric in CC color. What kind of fabric is it? It is a flocked mesh. So it's like a mesh fabric. I'll show it to you under the light of the sewing machine. And then it's got flocking on it. And honestly, I've had it for so long in my stash, I can't even remember where I got it from. Like literally, this is one of those pieces of fabric I purchased it, and then I would take it out and look at it, and then I would put it back, and I would take it out and look at it and put it back. Like I had a hard time figuring out what I wanted to use it for. I mean, I liked it, but then again, I didn't know what I was going to do with it. Debbie says, it makes much more sense than what I did. I didn't pleat the strips. Ugh, I'm not happy with it. Yours looks great. Well, you can take your skirt apart, add more strips, and then pleat it. So let me just show you in the light here. So see how if you look at it from the wrong side, it's got more of a dark, this is the back side of the flocking. This is the front side of the flocking. And it's almost got like a pearly, creamy look to it. It's a little fuzzy, you know, flocking. This also reminds me of that really bad art. Have you ever been to like a fair or something and the guy does spray painting on black velvet or something like that? That's kind of what this reminds me of a little bit. But you know, and then the fact that it's got different color gradations or like a tie-dye look to it. Like look at this piece. See how, look how much that looks compared to that, because it's, you know, it's got darker sections and lighter sections. So it really gave me a lot of variety. So instead of struggling with a bunch of different colors, I'm just treating this like it's a bunch of different colors. All right, so Janie says it's really pretty fabric. Thank you, Janie. Barbara says very nice. Thank you. Okay, so I was hoping that no one would be like, oh, I'm so disappointed that you didn't keep going with the colored one you started before, which, I mean, I get that. And like I said, I'm going to try to make one for my granddaughter. So it's not like I'm not going to do anything with it. All right, let me get this so you can see what I'm doing here. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I am going to stitch right on the fold. So if the folded edge is a flat lock, I'm going to stitch right on that. And then if it's not, I'm going to then stitch on whatever the fold is. So you can see this one's going to be on the flat locking, and the next one is going to be on a fold. Oh, Lazaro says very naughty fabric. Sometimes it just doesn't want to cooperate. Well, that's true. That is true. This is a little bit naughty, but I am going to make it, I'm going to make it bend to my will. So I think I'm going to use just a very narrow zigzag to sew these on. So I'm going to put my zigzag at like 2.5. and I'll make it like 1.4. We'll see how that looks. Oh, hey, Mary. Oh, she says I have to make what I will wear. That is true. Sometimes I make things that are really bright that I wouldn't normally wear, but I would wear them at a major sewing event when I'm teaching to show different things. You know, it's, I don't know. I just, those other colors, I like all those other colors separately, but then when I put them all together, except for that neon orange, yellow, I did not like the neon yellow with the silver sparkles, but all right. So I'm going to go ahead and stitch here. And I'm just going to, like I said, I'm just stitching. Maybe I need to make it wider. I'm going to go to 1.6. And then as I come to my pins, I'm going to take them out. Oh, and wait a minute. I got to do one more thing here. Remember I said I was going to plan sort of a zigzag? I don't know if I need to mark it. Let me just see. All right, so I'm going to do this one down to here, let's say. And I'm just going to back tack a little bit to lock it off. Maybe I'll do a knot. This has one of those built-in knots. Okay. Then I'm going to go up to the top again. See how nice and neat that looks? You can't even tell that I stitched that one because I stitched right on top of the flat lock stitch on that one. So this one, and again at the very top I want to make sure that it's not being naughty. All right, so which way did this flat lock is going to lay this way? So I'm literally going to put this like this. I'm using my wide zigzag foot, but it also has a built-in walking foot here, so that's going to help me stitch on here. All right, now as I come down, okay, I stopped right here. So this time, maybe I'll go to a little bit farther. Let me see. I'll go a little bit farther down on this one, maybe. So where did I stop here? Here. I'm going to go down like another inch or so, or maybe a little bit less. I'm going to stop right there and put a knot. Okay. Okay, see, and the little zigzag is also very nice. Can you see it? I'm zoomed in as far as I can, or as close as I can get, but I think that little zigzag is good. Oh, Tana's checking in. Good afternoon, Jen. I think you're picking a better option with fabric. You could make your own fabric with this strip piecing technique to use for fancy sleeves on a blouse. Oh, you absolutely could. That's a great idea, Tana. I love it when you guys come up with other ideas. Okay, so now this one, I'm going to just stitch down right on the fold. You know, and as I go, I'm just going to make sure it's laying nice and it's not fighting with itself. Now this time, so see how I'm here and here? I think I'm going to go down a little lower on this one, and then I'm going to start to go back up. So let me just get this pin out of the way here. Make sure I'm going to take this pin out too, because I just want to make sure everything is nice. So we'll go down to here. And then I'm going to tie a knot. All right, now I'm going to come back up and we're going to start over here. Now, as I go down this one, I'm going to make sure my pleat stays even. But this time I'm going to be a little bit shorter. I'm just, like I said, I'm just making sure that the pleat stays happy. All right, so I stopped here, right here. So I think I'll stop just a little bit higher than that this time. So maybe, I don't know, right there. All right, now let's see the next one. Okay, so I'm gonna go right here. See, I like the way this is looking much better than the other one. I think having a neat flat lock helps. Okay, so this time we're gonna stopped here, so I'm gonna stop and move this pin out of the way. Here, we'll stop right here for this one. So now if I'm gonna say to myself, this edge is gonna be one of my side edges, let's say, or maybe this will be the center back. I just wanna, I don't know, consider that as I start, you know, changing the release of these pleats, because down my center front, I'm gonna want the pleats to be sewn down longer so they don't puff up on my tummy. So that's something I'm thinking about as I'm going along here. Let me get rid of this pin. So these are the big square flathead pins by Taylor Seville. And for a project, I like having this big bold color here because you can see, pleating all this fabric, I might lose a pin in the mix, but I can clearly see where they are because of the brightly colored tops. So that's why I chose this pin to work with here, so they're easy for me to see. Hey Sylvia, welcome. All right, so I'm here. So I think I'll stop right here. And then let's go to the next one. All right, so this one has two flat locks butting up next to each other. So I'm going to stitch right across both of these flat locks. And to do that, I think I'm just going to make my stitch width like 3.2 to make it a little wider. And that way I'm making sure I catch both of the flat lock edges in this one. So you can see how they're right next to each other. And I'm going to stop. I'm about 5 or 6 inches from the waistline now. I think that's as high up or as close to the waistline as I want to be. So I'm going to stop here and knot it off. And then I'm going to start going back down. So on this next pleat right here, I'm going to bring my stitch length back down to like 2.5-ish, narrow it back up again. And I'm going to come down, and I'm going to come down a little bit lower now. So here is where I stopped here. So I'm going to go a little bit farther. Okay, and the other thing is, one of the other things I'm thinking here is I'm using a zigzag stitch, and partially a zigzag stitch, if I decide I want to release some of them and bring it up a little bit, I can take out a zigzag much easier on this fabric than I can a a straight stitch. So that's the other reason why I'm using the zigzag for this. All right, now here, this is the one that was the pain in the ass. Oh, sorry, I'm swearing on camera. This is the one that gave me fits, so I'm gonna try to really nail this one down. Let me see. See if I can get it to behave. Okay. All right, so I'm here. So I'm going to go down a little bit lower on this one, I think. I know I said I was going to stitch that one up higher, but that's not the way that worked out. So let's just see what happens. Okay. Okay. All right, I think that's probably a good spot to stop. Okay. I am more than halfway done with the section that I had started. All right, this pleat came apart, so let's get that back in action here. So I think you can see why I didn't pleat the entire thing, because I'm having a hard time managing the one I'm working on. So after I finish sewing these down, I'll show you how I pleated the next section. And again, I'm just gonna try to keep the pleat going in a nice way here. This one is getting a little fudged up, but I'm gonna okay, so why is this one causing me agita? Sometimes it helps if you talk to it, like, come on, you can do it. You can behave. This one does not want to fall. This one does not want to come straight down. So I'm going to go over here. I'm going to see if I can pick it back up from... Well, I think this one does not want to lay flat. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to let it... Where am I? I hope I'm not making a mess here. All right, I'm just going to do this. All right, I'm going to stop this one here. I want to see what it's doing. So I went from, let's just look at this for a second. It's hard to see, but I'm up here. See, then I went down. This one is being funky, so I'm just going to end it right here because I think, yeah, I don't know. I don't like that. I don't like it. All right, I'm going to leave that alone for now and see what happens when I, work past it, because that's not, I might have to go back and fix that one. Let me just do this one. It's funny because this one's laying nice. Its neighbor is cooperating. I'm going to come down a little bit farther on this one. Okay. All right, I only think I have 3 more, and then I'm going to show you how I do the pleating. I hope this isn't like watching paint dry. Okay. All right, let's see. Okay, let's get this one. Do you ever have the problem with when your foot control keeps sliding away from your foot? I feel like I'm doing a split trying to reach it right now. check this out. Okay, I went down to here. So I'm going to go down to right there, maybe. I am getting excited about this skirt, though. It does require a lot of patience. Like anything that's embellished, like when you start working on stuff that's like, you know, has details and embellishments or pleats or, you know, decorative stitching or any of that kind of stuff, you really got to slow down and take your time, which you know is not my favorite thing to do, but you can't speed embellishment most of the time. Most of the time, if you try to start speeding along, you end up with a mess. So I am taking my time here. Stuff right here. All right, I'm going to do one more, I think, and then I'm going to show you how I pleated it up to the next section. Well, actually, let me just stop here because the other pins fell out. So let me just show you. All right, let me move this out of the way. And it's easier for me to work on my little cut and press board here. Make it big so you can see. All right, let's look and see what I did so far. Like, see, I think that's really pretty. So see how it's going to release in different, you know, at different heights from the waist. I think that's kind of cool. So, like, I started here, and then I went down, then I went up a little, up a little, up a little to here, and then I went down here, and then this one's way up here because this is the one that's not behaving. I don't know, I might take this out and see if I can get that to lay better, because see, it's just like a little bit wonky here, this one. And then after that, I went down lower again, so I went all the way to here, then I went to here, then I went to here, and then I went to nothing. All right, so now let's pleat up another section. So you can see I've got, love, very feminine and very pretty. Oh, that's so nice. I do. And it's red for Valentine's Day. All right, so see, I'm going to pick this one up and I'm going to pleat it over like that. And then let's put some pins. Get my pins over here so I can easily get them. Okay, so this one will be like this. Oops. Oh, and by the way, we have 5 people for the 3-day pants fitting class now, so that's a number that I would hold it, like, even if I didn't have a sold out semi-private fitting workshop next weekend. So 5 people is a really nice size, and honestly, you know, obviously if we get some more people, that will be lovely. But if we have 5 people in the class, or even if we had 6 or 7 people in the class, that's like a luxury small size for me. So I'm kind of happy about that. All right. Okay. So now this is a big open area here. So I'm going to actually pleat it from the middle of the strip like this. So I'm actually just making one pleat in the middle of this one like this. You know, or I could make multiple smaller pleats in the middle of it as well. Maybe I'll make 2 in this one over here for something different. You know, and I'm trying to keep my pleats straight on with my strips here. Like I'm kind of using the decorative flat lock as a guide to how I'm, you know, putting them. All right, so this one, again, I'm going to start in the middle of this one, and I'm going to bring it all the way over to here, like this. Like this. I'm so happy that I had this fabric in my stash and I just didn't, like, I guess I'm glad. I guess it must have been meant for this particular project because, like I said, this fabric is probably almost 20 years old in my stash. All right, so now this one, I'm going to do a pleat here, like this. I'm putting the pins off to the side because I think that might make it easier to deal with it when I'm sewing, keeping the heads away from, you know, the seam I'm actually sewing. So I'm cocking them off to the side like this. So regardless of whether or not you worked with one kind of fabric or multiple kind of fabrics like I did last week, this pleating process is kind of the same. All right, so then I'm going to scoot this. I'm going to do two in this one. So this one is going to be like this. I'm going to line it right up. I mean, I took the time to flat lock, so ideally I'd like to not cover the flat lock stitch. So for this one, I'm going to just try to carefully pleat it up right up against the flat lock like this. And then I think I'll sew these. So unlike the article where you're going to stitch this through to a facing to hold it, I'm going to make this its own skirt. And when I go to fit it onto me, I'm going to make sure it fits around my waist, you know, the way it's comfortable. And so it matches my shorts. And then I'm going to sew them together at the top. Oh, Tana's asking if it would be helpful to use tape instead of pinning. You probably could. Probably could tape. Yeah, you probably could. All right, I'm just going to do this small section here. All right, let me just put this in my lap. And then let me just get my sewing machine back. Okay, and then, okay, so we're just going to start with, plus I have to manage all of this fabric that's hanging off the end. And I didn't calculate whether or not I made enough to wrap around me after I pleat it. So after I pleat this, I'm going to have to try it on and see. I do have more strips, so like if I need to make more strips, I can. But I didn't do exact math in terms of trying to make sure I had enough, so we'll see. All right, I'm very, very happy with the way this is coming out. All right, so I'm down here. Okay, so I think I'm gonna stop right here. And then, oops, this didn't cut. All right, now let's do this one. Now, the other thing I'm thinking about while I'm working on this is I'm thinking about all of the folds on the other side that I'm not stitching down, because, you know, when you pleat up your fabric, you have two sides of it. So like there's one side, the undersides are free. I might decide to go back in and fix that, or tack those down too. All right, so I'm here. So I think I'll stop here. Okay, and then on this one, I feel like you get in a sort of a mojo, and then it becomes easier to get it to, you know, agree with you as you start working along with it. All right, so I'm going to stop a little bit higher on this one. All right, now let's do this one. All right, so I went down to here, then I started coming up. Now I think I'm going to start going back down again. I'll go to here. Okay, and now this last, uh-oh, look, I didn't sew because I ran out of bobbin thread. All right, so I have to wind a bobbin. I'm sorry about that. I'm gonna have to fix that. All right, so I'm gonna wind a bobbin, and then I'm going to, I'm gonna have to pleat it up again. So let me just quickly wind a bobbin. All right, so this takes a long time, and I'm gonna keep working on it for a little bit. And then basically I'm gonna put it together like I'm gonna put together the way I put together my skirts. I'm gonna sew the skirt together separately, and then I'm gonna sew the shorts together, and I'm gonna make sure that the waistline is matched. So like the waistline of the skirt is gonna be slightly bigger than the waistline of the shorts. So when I stretch the shorts to fit the skirt, it's not going to be pressed up against me. So there'll be a little bit of ease in the waistline of the skirt compared to the shorts, just a little bit. And then I'm going to put on a separate waistband for this. Okay, what is the name of the foot you're using again? I have a walking foot. It's such a pita. And yes, too many times run out of bobbin thread. All right, so this machine that I'm working on is the Janome 6700P. And the nice thing about this machine is it comes with a zigzag foot and a straight stitch foot. And I'll show you the straight stitch foot because it's not attached to the machine. And basically what it does is it allows you to do either straight stitching or zigzag stitching with a built-in walking foot attached to the actual presser foot. And I love that because I grew up on Fab, which has that. But you can see here, see how underneath here there's that walking foot built-in feed dogs. And what happens is they work together with the feed dogs on the machine. So it feeds the top layer of the fabric at the same rate that it's feeding the bottom layer of fabric, and it just makes it easier. So I do love this. I love having it. All right, so oh, Lazarus is saying a facing made from a single layer of mesh underneath would be useful to hold the pleats on the reverse side. No. Yes, actually it would. It would. It would. I'm looking at this and I'm trying to decide. I'm trying to decide about that. Well, all right. So now that I've wound a bobbin and my thing came out anyway, I have to pleat it back up anyway. So let's just take a look at that. Let me move this back out of the way a little bit. Okay, let's see. I'm going to turn it this way and I'm going to look. All right, so this is what it looks like from the wrong side. Let's take a look at that. Oops, wait a minute. Let me put this here. Victoria says, don't you wish sewing machines had a flashlight when the bobbin was low? Yes, I do. And I see that Desi Debbie does too. I'm not sure. I got to work on that name. All right, so here's what it looks like on the wrong side. Oh, apparently I had light blue bobbin thread. You can see that. So all of these are flopping around. I don't know that it would be... So my original idea was after I sewed the whole thing down, I would go back and sew the ends of these as well to just keep them flat. But I mean, you could put another layer. Like I do have the navy mesh from my previous thing. Like I could maybe put, you know, a strip of this. Like let's turn it around and see if you could tell. And I guess putting the layer underneath would definitely be more in keeping with the article. All right, so let's see. So if I put this here, you can see through. So like where it isn't and then where it is, I can see a little bit. But then remember, I'm going to have black shorts on underneath. So maybe I could do that. All right, I'm going to keep that for an idea for the next time because I've already started, because I would need to have this under there and sew down all the way to then hold it to each other. Maybe just ironing and clapping it will hold it down. Yeah, that's true, but also like once it's snug on my body, chances are they'll just stay nice and flat too. So this one's going to be an experiment. I'm going to see, you know, once I get it all pleated up, I may decide to just go back in and sew the other side. I don't think having more rows of stitching would really bother anything either. So there you go. But I mean, you could make a facing from another piece of knit like I was initially going to do. That was my plan initially when I was working with all of those different colors. So I'm just gonna, I know it's getting to be close to 2 o'clock. So if anybody has to go, you know, feel free. It's not going to hurt my feelings because I feel like watching me do this might be akin to watching paint drying sometimes. So don't feel like you have to. Oh, and look here, I went off the fabric, so I have to go back and fix that one. So I will go back. Let me just get it all pleated first. So I'm going to go ahead and pleat another section, and I'm just going to keep going till I finish. So that's what I'm going to work on today. And like I said, if you want to keep watching, feel free. I love having you guys hang out with me, but you know, if you've got other stuff to do, I certainly understand that as well. But I know if I turn the camera off and end the stream, I'll probably end my work. So I want to get a little bit more done. So I'm just going to keep going here. And I guess anyone who stays can see it wrapped around my dress form to see how it hangs. I guess that's the only plug I can give you to keep up with me here. But again, I can show it to you in 2 weeks. Remember, next week I'm not going to be here because I'm teaching semi-private pants fitting Thursday, Friday, Saturday next weekend. Mary's pedaling while you're watching. Still can't use a treadmill, so pedaling while sitting works. Oh, that's smart. No zipper. No zipper. The whole idea of this one is it's going to stretch onto me. This is going to be a knit stretchy skirt. See, it does. See how much it stretches? It's going to be fine. Okay. No zipper. This is a pull-on easy peasy skirt versus doing the invisible zipper in the one in the Threads magazine that's made out of sheer fabrics. Okay. Okay. I did put a link to Threads magazine if anybody wants to, you know, subscribe to it. You know, I've talked about this in the past. I think, you know, print is really expensive and hard to keep in business right now. And, you know, I just feel like the minute it's gone, because they can't afford to keep it going, if people don't subscribe, then people are going to be sad that it's gone. So I highly, highly, highly recommend supporting Threads magazine because it's a really great magazine, and there's lots of fun stuff in there and lots of inspiration. And I would like to see it continue because I like to flip through the pages. Do you think the shorts will act like a facing? The shorts are going to be, they're not going to be the facing, so I'm going to put a separate waistband on this one, but they are going to act like a lining. You know, so if you see through the skirt, you'll just see the black fabric. I'm hoping it's not going to look indecent because this is pretty see-through. So, I mean, I guess if I get it on and I don't like how breezy it is, I might have to take the shorts off and actually put a lining in there. But I'm really hoping I can just get away with it being shorts. So we will see. I think putting black shorts underneath it will be good. We'll see. But this will have a separate waistband. Now in the article, the one they adapted in the current issue, they actually left the top of the skirt raw and sewed a ribbon around to create the waistline. So there's a few different ways that you can do that. Let me just show you while we're talking about that. So see this one right here, this is the one they added. This was not in the original article. What they did was they literally left it raw and then they attached a ribbon to stabilize the waist. And where the tie is where the zipper is. So that's another option where you can just leave it raw. So there you go. You're Taking My Life says, one of your videos helped me figure out fitting issue with jeans and I was stumped on forever. Thank you for that. Oh, you're very, very welcome. Well, you know, fitting pants and jeans is my favorite, my passion, I would say my best expertise. I love fitting jeans and pants. I love it, love it, love it. That's why I'm really looking forward to next weekend to do fitting, and then also in March for my 3-day pants fitting. I am so excited. That's like heaven in a class for me. These days my skirts and shorts need to be much longer. Oh, I have to hide my knees because as a teenager, I was very active and I was like crash and burn girl. So I fell many times. And so my knees are not the most attractive because they're all beat up from all of my sports and different things that I did that made me, you know, well, left lasting impressions on my knees. Let me just put it that way. All right. So we're gonna pleat this one. I'm gonna pleat a little bit here, 2 times on this one, I think. Okay, so I've got that one. I gotta make this less angled, like that. And then this next one will finish all the way to the here. Oh, this one came out. I gotta fix that pin. I think just doing a little bit at a time is also helpful. I think I had too many pleats done the first time. So I think if let me get this one. I want this one to butt right up against that one. So I'm gonna make sure it's butting right up, just like this. You really have to take your time and play here. It's like I want to rush and be done, but on the same hand, like I can't rush this. This has to, you have to take your time on this. All right, this is the last pleat I'm going to put in for this time. Okay. All right, let me see what's going on here. I have some agita going on. See how that's not laying flat? That's like a hot mess over here. Oh, Mary says, I'm counting on your expert knowledge. End of March, I want to make a pair of dress pants. Mary, we are going to make dress pants. We are absolutely going to make dress pants. We're going to take our time. That's the nice thing about the 3-day workshop. We really take our time. Like there's no rushing, there's no stress. And like when I teach at a large event, like I teach pants fitting in 1 day for 25 people, because that's the parameter you have to teach at when you teach something big like the Houston Quilt Festival or some of these bigger venues. So I can get everybody squared away pretty nicely in a day. Not that they're done, but they're started. And then I offer a free follow-up Zoom so people can continue to work and then get back with me. But when we have the 3 whole days, it's just because no one's panicking, and they're not, feeling like they're running out of time. It just makes the whole experience a lot nicer for the student, and it makes it a lot nicer for me because, we can all just breathe and we can learn how to fit pants while we're fitting pants. I mean, that's really the difference. A lot of times in my single day, 6-hour classes, everybody just wants to get their muslin fit as best they can, and they're not as concerned with how they got there. So, I mean, that's good, that's fine, but having the time to really slow down and understand what you're doing while you're doing it has been really effective for my students, and very low stress. All right, so now I've got these behaving, so I'm going to go ahead and sew these, and I'll go to the next batch. There is a link in the description if anybody's interested in checking out more information about the 3-day pants fitting. I try to make it as luxury as possible. It's at the same hotel as you're going to stay at the Hampton Inn. There's free breakfast. I do lunch, and I will pick you up from the airport if you fly in, so you don't have to Uber yourself. So I try to be as, hands-on and as accommodating as I can be. And I think it's going to be lots of fun. Oh my gosh, what is going on with this pin right here? I'm just going to take that out for now. All right, let me see. Now I have to worry about the fabric I've already pleated and manage that. Plus I have to manage the fabric on this side. Then a bit of behind work on my jeans. Yep. Yep, we can do that too. All right. I had too much angle where the fly attached. It was making it bunch up extra horizontal space. It was all poofy in the front. I made the angle less prominent and it fixed it. Yes, that's a good one. You're taking my life. That was a huge eye opener for me. So like if you're a rectangle shape, having a center front that angles away from center creates a larger dart at center front, and it creates a pooch in the front if you don't have a defined waist. So that is always a big help for people. And I discovered that because I am a rectangle and my first jeans pattern had a pretty good angle on the center front. Once I straightened it out, I was golden. I thought I screwed up and sewed my front fly wrong. That's what I thought was happening. Okay, I'm going to start going longer now. So you can really see the white flocking here. Isn't that pretty? Oh, Polly. Oh, Mary says she's looking forward to it. And Polly said she took the 3-day last fall and it was great. Oh, I'm so happy that you had a good experience, Polly. That was a fun one. Oh, and also, Polly, I brought your box of hearts to Middlesex Hospice on Tuesday this week, and they were overjoyed. So I just want to thank you again for sending me those hearts. They really, I didn't realize, but hospice, okay, so on the 7th floor at Middlesex Hospital, that's their comfort care floor, and every new admission gets a heart in their little bag of stuff that they give the new patients who are coming on the floor, which I thought was very sweet. And then the other thing is, like, really and truly, like when my mom was there, you know, and she was under hospice care, and they put those little hearts under her hands to keep them comfortable. I will tell you, I think it almost did more for us to see them there and feel like she was being comforted. I mean, I'm sure they were comfortable for her too, but it just, a little thing like that really, I think makes a big difference for people. So I really appreciate that you did that box of hearts. So thank you, thank you. Oh, you're as straight as a beanpole. I have no curves or butt. Well, I like to say that I have boy legs. I say I have boy legs because I have almost no hip curve and I have almost no waist. Like even when I'm not, or a smaller size, like size for me doesn't really matter. I could lose some weight, but even if I were 20 pounds lighter, I wouldn't have a very defined waist. It's still very close to my measurements. I'm just a straight person. Very straight. Okay. So next weekend, like I'm so grateful that the workshops I'm teaching next weekend were not this weekend, because we're going to get a bad storm Saturday to Sunday, and that really would have probably hindered people from getting here. Next week, it's going to snow on Thursday, so I'm just hoping that doesn't cause people, you know, stress balls to get here. I think the way people are coming, it's going to be okay, though. All right, so let me just see. I think I'm going to stop this one right here. You know, and of course, after I finish sewing all of these things down, if I decide that I want to adjust the length of what some of these pleats are doing, I can sew them down farther, you know, if I feel like I need to do that. So mostly I just want to get everything pleated here so I can see what's happening, and then I can fine tune how far down I sewed if I need to. Want that tail to get cut. Okay. Oh, I cut it before I knotted it. I'm just going to back up here and make a little goober so it doesn't come undone. I have to be more than halfway done at this point. Let me do this one. I'm going to hold it up against me so we can see how it looks. All right, let's take a look at this. I'm going to change my view so I can hold it up against me so we can see how I'm doing here. And I think, let me see. All right, I'm going to switch my view. All right, let's see. Okay, let's see. So if I wrap this around the front of me, yeah, I think that's going to be pretty. And from pleat to pleat, I think I'm a little past side seam on both sides, so I'm a little more than halfway, but I feel like I like the way this is looking, right? Yeah, and I still have all of this to pleat, so I still have quite a bit. And like I said, if I need a little more, I can cut some more strips. I have enough to cut another bunch of strips if I need them. Oh, cute is cheerleaderish. Yeah. Well, yeah, it is kind of cheerleaderish. But I think, you know, in the spring, like well, maybe the fall, I could wear this with, you know, black tights, or nylons or something, you know, black. But I think I'm gonna like this. I'm really kind of excited with the way it's coming out. All right, so I'm gonna turn it like this. I think if I turn it like this, maybe it'll be easier to pleat now. All right, so basically, okay, oops, I gotta make this bigger so you can see. All right, so I'm gonna bring this over to here. So we'll go almost to it. Oh, the only thing about doing it this way is it's awkward for me to pin. I can't do it that way. Gotta do it this way. Or maybe I can do it this way. Let me see if this is, I'm trying to figure out what the easiest way is to orientate it, to pleat it, but then also pin it neatly. This is upside down now. So if I take this and hike it over here. Oh, no, I don't want to do that. Let me take it from here. Okay. I stacked and whacked these. Do you know that term, stack and whack? I literally got all my strips together. I mean, folded my fabric so I could cut through 4 layers of fabric at a time. And I cut all my strips out very efficiently. So I wasn't like cutting, you know, single layer. I cut through 4 layers. So every time I cut, I had 4 strips, which kind of worked out nice for making quick work of creating all of the strips. Oh no, they need to be like this, actually. All right. Yeah, I think this is going to be cute. And of course, you know this will go perfect with a black a black tank top. So I'll have color on the bottom and I'll have black on the top. And actually that'll help the proportion of my shape because, you know, I'm much bigger on top than I am on the bottom. So I'll have this colored skirt, which, I mean, I guess all right, that's not helping me. I got to do it this way. You know, all the vertical lines are slimming, but also it's a color. So if I have a solid black top on, it'll minimize my bust and help me look more, you know, in proportion top to bottom. Because I know when I wear skinny jeans, I look like an apple on a stick. And that is not attractive. So I try to keep my bottoms from being too, you know, a little fuller, so I'm in proportion with myself. All right. Okay, so I've got that one. Now, so this one here, see, I've got space here. I'm going to drag it under like this. So I'm instead of going like this and pulling it this way, I'm going to take it and shift it from underneath. Just for something different here. And I'm going to meet these two. I'm going to meet those two right there. Okay. I'm going to do this one other section on this one. So now this one, I'm going to pleat it up like this. I'm going to do two in this one. So I've got one there. And then I'm going to do a second one right next to it like this. Like that. Does anyone know why man's jeans say they are 34 but measure 36, or say 32 but measure 34? Is it because of the fly add-on? Oh, that's interesting that you're asking that. I have no idea either, and actually I didn't even know that was a thing because I never buy men's. The only men's pants I've bought recently is my stepson likes the hiking pants at EMS. So, and he's a 32. Now I did not measure to see, if the 32 was really a 32. I didn't realize that was a thing. I'm going to go measure my husband's pants. Oh, Debbie needs to figure out how to put her name instead of your husband's. Well, you can make your own YouTube account, and then you would have, you know, you don't need to have content on YouTube to have a YouTube account. You can make your own YouTube account, and you could call yourself whatever you want. Some people, if you've noticed on here, don't even use their names. They'll use like you know, like You're Taking My Life is someone. So, but I'll tell you, there's a number of women who follow me, and they follow me under their husband's name. And, you know, that's fine too. I don't really, you know, whatever works for you is fine with me. And then I have some men who follow me, and one of them commented under my cool tool this week that his wife told him he couldn't watch me anymore because I was costing him too much money, because I'm a sewing gadget enabler during cool tools. All right, I'm going to do a little one right here, a little pleat right here, and then I'm going to stop and sew them. My boyfriend wanted me to take in a pair of jeans. I have never done that before. I just started sewing, but 2 darts in the back takes off 2 inches. Then they were too small. Oh, so you took them in too much. Yeah, that's tricky. You got to be careful. All right. All right, this is going to be the end of this section. And then I am going to sew these down now. Okay. You know where else that happens, where women will use their husband's accounts, is on my Zoom classes. So sometimes, like, I'll have someone in the class, and I know, like, they're a female woman, or a woman, whatever, and their name is the husband. But in Zoom, I can just go in and change people's names, or they can change their name. It's easy to do that in Zoom. Unlike YouTube, you can't just change the name, I don't think. But, all right, let's sew these down. Oh, can you see what I'm doing even? There we go. All right. I'm really, really hoping I don't have to sew any more strips on. That's why I didn't sew my shorts together, because my machine is still set up for a flatlock stitch. So I don't want to have to switch it back and forth. So I didn't want to sew the shorts together until I made sure I had enough strips, because I needed the 4-thread safety stitch for the shorts. All right, let me, not that. Okay, let's do this one. Ooh, I'm going down pretty far here. I'm going to be interested to see how it looks with the varying lengths of pleats. You're Taking My Life is the way we say that someone is getting on our nerves where I live, LOL. Jeans say size 36. He needs 34. So I took off 2 inches. Now I know, don't trust. Measure first. Oh, that's funny though. I like that. All right. Okay, let's see here. Okay, I'm almost. The other thing you can do with this is, like, let's say you want to vary the amount of fullness you have across the hem. You could gather it up more and less in places too. You know what I mean? To make a variety of fullness. Okay. All right, I have 3 more to do in this section. All right, we're getting there. I only have probably 3 more feet to pleat up after this bunch. All right. Okay, let me just see here. I'm just gonna take this one out too, because they seem to be fighting with each other up at the top. So let me just make sure. Just want to make sure that I can get both of these to work. One of them is tiny. Okay. Okay, we're one more, and then we're gonna pleat up another section. I'm getting there. Okay, last one. This little baby one up here. Oh, well, actually, let me just take it out and pleat it over because the pins fell out. All right. Almost done. Okay, let's see. You can see that we're coming to, yeah, I probably have like just 3 feet left. So the majority of me is pleated. So here I was trying to make another skinny one like this. So we'll just pin that in. So I know that my daughter never watches my lives, so I can talk about her. But she sent me a picture and her boyfriend sent her flowers at school. And the note said, it was so sweet. The note was, I guess he called her Jelly Bean. Jelly Bean, you mean the world to me, and I hope you'll be my Valentine today and every day. And I just thought that was so sweet. And he sent her a beautiful bouquet of flowers. I thought that was very, very sweet. So, you know, I think she'd maybe be a little embarrassed if she knew I was talking about her, but honestly, she'll never know because she never watches me on YouTube. But I just thought that was very sweet. Her boyfriend is really, really nice. Like, I really like him. And she really likes him too, so that works out. All right, let's see. Okay. Just gonna pleat this one down a little bit more. Okay. All right. I'm gonna pleat this one. I think it's fun to have a variety of different width pleats, like just sort of doing it, you know, however it's feeling as you work across. I think that makes it interesting. Like if I had to sit here and make exact measure and make exact pleats, I think that would be exhausting. So it's kind of freeing to be able to just make your pleats any way you want. Let me just stop here. The sewing machine I have, someone gave me, it has been out in the weather for a long time, but I cleaned it up and got it working. I can't find any info. It's a national brand, Super Stretch 100. It says it's the national brand is the brand. That's interesting because I've never heard of that. And I worked at a sewing machine store for 10 years before I started J. Stern Designs. I worked for this sewing store for 10 years, and then it went out of business during, you know, 2007 when the recession and all that craziness was going on. And all that time, I never heard of that brand. I mean, we carried all the major brands, like we carried Brother, Viking, Pfaff, Janome. We were a huge Janome dealer. We tried to get Bernina for a short period of time, but that didn't work in our store. So if you want to be more scientific about how many strips that you cut out ahead of time, like if you want a better guesstimate or a mathematical guess of how many strips you're going to need, there is a good chart in the Threads magazine article that kind of helps you plan that out. If you just don't want to go, you know, just cut them like I did and hope for the best. What's going on with this? This is fighting me. This one looks a little bit wonky. Okay. I think part of the problem with this fabric and why it's a little bit challenging is because where it's flocked, it doesn't fold as nice as the netting when it's just plain netting. So I think it's part of the reason why this fabric can be a little bit fussy with the pleats, because as I go over the flocked areas, it's a little bit different. Okay, let's see. All right. Okay. All right, I'm just going to pleat up this section and then I'm going to sew. And really, oh, and now Joann's is closing. Yes, I put on my stories. They announced in Connecticut that one of the reasons why I have my pants fitting workshop at the Hampton Inn where I have it is because, well, partially it's just convenient, a really convenient location. There's a lot of restaurants nearby, but also there's a Joann's right next to it. And I think they're closing almost all the Connecticut Joann's. I'm very sad. I don't know. You know, all of these places that are closing, I think people take it for granted if they have them, and then when they close, it becomes like a shocker. Like I run down there if I need something last minute, or, you know, especially like if I need something like thread or a zipper to match and I don't have time to wait to order it. I mean, I don't buy a lot of fabric from there because it doesn't hold up, I'll be honest. But it's good for a lot of other things, and also to get the yarn I need to do certain knitting projects that I do. That was always a nice option. I mean, luckily we have a Michael's Crafts in the same plaza, so there still is a crafty store there, but oh, yours is staying open. I'm so happy to hear yours is staying open. I mean, I hope they can figure it out, and like maybe if they restructure and scale back, maybe they can keep themselves, you know, going in some locations. I mean, I'm lucky because of where I live, I can go to New York City if I need fabric. So, you know, that's where I end up if I need fabric. Usually I'll go there, or I'll just order it online. All right. So true. I use Mood, but hate not being able to touch it. Okay, so Mood Fabric is a very nice fabric store, but they really got crazy and expensive when that whole Project Runway thing happened. I thought it was a cooler store before Project Runway. So I don't really shop there because I think their prices are inflated. There's a lot of little stores there. The one that I really like, and you can take advantage of it whether you're in New York or home, is Metro Textiles, because he has a website. You can order online, and if you get on his mailing list, he has really good sales, like 60% off sales. So I do buy a lot of things from Metro Textiles. And I do stop in there if I visit. So Metro Textiles is my favorite. Okay, so let me just stop here for a second. Barbara says, just looking up National Sewing Machine, it will show pictures of it on Google. It's also shows an Atlas machine, maybe the same, maybe. There are a bunch of generic sewing machine, not generic, but I mean generic. I mean sewing machine companies that they're not one of the major brands, and you know they are out there. Oh, Barbara's agreeing with me that yes, Mood to get expensive. I can send you a picture if I can actually figure out how to send one. It says National Stretch Series Super 100 saw a YouTube video of a girl trying to sell one just like it. She said it was a Necky. Oh, Necky has been around for a long time. I mean, that could be true. I've heard of them. You can send me a picture. You can email me at, jsterndesigns37@gmail.com. I can look at it. All right, I'm going to stop there. Okay, I'm getting there. Getting there. Okay. I'm going to go down a little lower on this one. Okay, maybe I'll stop right there. I had a new high from my mom, lasted forever. A new home? I've looked and looked for information. I can't find it except one video. I will send a picture in a little while if I can figure out how to send one. I'm not real tech savvy. If you take a picture on your phone and then email it from your phone, you can attach it right from your phone. If your phone takes pictures. That's the easiest way to do it. All right, I got 2 more rows here. If I'm not finished by 3 o'clock, I'm calling it because I have to hike. But I really would like to be done pleating. Let me see if I can, listen to me. Let me see if I can hurry up and finish pleating this. Yeah, Neckies were good machines. And I'll tell you something, some of these older machines, like older Singers, older Berninas, older New Homes, older Vikings, some of those machines work better than the new ones. Okay, I got one more, and then I have about 2 more feet. I'm getting there. It's shocking how much fabric you need. You know, when you pleat up fabric, it's always amazing, like, how much you need to pleat and also make it long enough. Like when I started, I thought, wow, I have this huge strip of fabric that I made by sewing the strips together. And now I'm looking at it and I'm like, ooh, is that going to fit around me? Like, seriously, what's going on with my thread is stuck. Uh-oh, something is not... Yeah, see, it's stuck in there. I knew it. All right, so my fabric got stuck in the zigzag hole. So I'm going to pop off the plate. Oh, I'm taking apart everything now. Hold on. All right, hold on. Let me get all this straightened out here. To see what happened, I got it all goobered in there. Oh, I hike year round. And actually 33 for me is balmy. So like the clothes I have on right now, I have yoga pants on that my own yoga pants. I have, well, I'm just going to take this whole flaming thing apart here because it's a hot mess. All right, let me just put this back first. So like it has to be single digits for me to feel like it's cold, believe it or not. Like literally single digits. But I mean, the thing about hiking in the winter is you need to acclimate your body to it. So if you start hiking when it's cold, the cold air is going to kill your lungs. But if you've been hiking all fall and you've been hiking, you know, a few times a week as it gets colder, then what happens is your body gets acclimated to it. And then it's not shocking to your system when you go out in the cold. But you have to, you know, prep for it. Like it's really like a year-long commitment. But that's my, you know, that's my ride or die. You know, like that's, if I don't hike, I'm not a happy girl. Like I go to the gym sometimes, but that's not the same thing. All right, now I've got that all put back together. Let's see. I'm actually pretty surprised that's the first time I've pushed this fabric through into the zigzag plate. All right, let me just finish this last one and then I'm going to pleat up another section. Okay. All right, I'm almost done. You guys are definitely champs for hanging out with me. I appreciate it. With the presser foot has a little kind of ditch cut out of the bottom of it, like it's made for something to fit there so you can sew over it. It came with the machine and I don't know what it's for. All right, so it's likely that that is a, like if you're doing sewing next to a seam and you put the seam allowances in that ditch, it'll help you stay honest with that. It is designed to slip stuff underneath it. All right, I'm just gonna stand up quick. I just wanna do a quick, is this gonna fit me when I'm done pleating? I want to see how far around I can get. It's going to be close. It's going to be close. It's going to be close. All right. Let me just, I don't want to stretch it too hard on my body. Even though this stretches, I don't want to stretch it out, because then what will happen is it'll make the skirt, you know, it'll make the pleats hang strained. So I want to try to keep it, I'm probably going to have to cut a few more strips, because I can stretch it around. I think I'd be able to stretch it around my body, but I need to make it a little bit, you know, a little bit bigger here, so I can take advantage of it hanging nicely. Oh, Mary said that the Michigan Joann's is closing. I'm sorry. I think it's just yucky. I just think when big establishments like that close, I just think that's yucky. You know, especially, I mean, think how long Joann's has been in business. That's, ugh. It's just yucky. This one I'm going to get so it's, I want to fold this one so it's, oops, okay, well, maybe I'll just tuck that one under like that. So of course, you have to keep in mind, the more you pleat it, the fuller the skirt's going to be too. So, you know, this isn't going to be like a super full skirt, because I'm really only pleating it. I would say I'm probably pleating it the minimum amount. You know, just to give myself a little bit of fullness at the bottom, but not a crazy amount. I'm going to pleat it all the way to the end, because I'm done for today. Look at this little skinny mini. I'm going to just, these skinny ones need little skinny pleats. Why did I think that was a good idea? To make these skinny little, these strips are only like, I don't know, 1.25 inches or 1.5 inches. That's tiny. But I'm going to get a little pleat in there. Okay. All right, let me just put this little pleat in here. Little baby 3/8 inch pleat. This worked out really good, because last week I had a Zoom Fit Lab appointment at 2:30. I wouldn't have been able to keep going. You don't have to have anyone close where I live. Always wanted to go to one. Oh, you don't have a Joann's near you? Yeah. Oh, hi, Diane. Welcome. You're in the bonus hour now. I literally am staying on until I finish pleating this, and you can see I'm almost at the end. I only have this much more to do. So I'm just going to pleat up this last section here, and then I'm going to call it a day. I'm going to probably have to cut some more strips and sew them on, because I don't think it's big enough to wrap around me yet. I'm going to leave the end strip open, because if I'm going to sew, I need to keep that flat. So I'm just going to do this last one, and then I'm going to sew these together, and then we'll be all done for today. I really wanted to finish this, but I keep having all these other crazy things getting in the way of working on this project. And remember, you guys, no Fab Fit Friday next week. I'm sorry, but I'll be back the week after that. I'm just gonna click this one like this. Just do it like that. All right, and then that will be the end of my pleating for this skirt. Okay, very exciting. All right, let's get these sewn. Put that back over there. Oops. All right. Is it just me, or do other people spend 80% of the time planning out what I'm gonna making a million times, so hopefully it doesn't mess up, and 20% of the time is spent actually doing it? That's a pretty good observation. I mean, I want to say I spent more time on this project trying to figure it out than I did actually sewing it. You know, and a lot of times that's also true for like my Fit Tip Tuesday videos and my cool tools. I spend more time trying to figure out what I'm going to do versus actually doing it. So I think people think the people who are creative, I mean, I don't know if you have this conception or misconception, like people who are creative, it just doesn't pop out like a magic thing. Like sometimes I get writer's block and I can't think of what to do, or I'm working on a project and I get stuck. So that's a definite thing. I do think a lot of time is spent figuring it out and planning. You know, and this involved me starting twice, because I had to start over after I realized I didn't like how the really colorful fabrics were coming together. You know, and in my heart of hearts, I really thought I could make it work. Like I literally was like full on, I'm gonna make this work. And then I had to bag it. I couldn't do it. Oh, okay. Bye, Debbie, Desi. Thank you for coming. I'll see you in 2 weeks. Oh, you thought it was just you? No, no, no. It's not just you. You were afraid that something was wrong and you had OCD. No, I just think, you know, when you're making something and you're invested in it, it takes time. And of course, you want it to come out the way you want it to come out. And all of that takes time and energy. It just does. I mean, sometimes when I rush through the designing process, I end up having to start over or do it a different way anyway. So for me, it's always worth, you know, taking my time in the design process. Uh-oh. Did my cutter... Sometimes my cutter gets traumatized. Hopefully it's still going to just keep stitching right along here. My fingers are crossed right now. Let's make this a little bit smaller. Okay. All right, I only have like 4 more to do. Oh, okay, so you thought it was because you were just starting and learning? That could be a factor in the amount of time it takes, but I've been doing this for a long time, and sometimes it still takes me a long time. Like sometimes, you know, I can't get out of my own way and make a decision on what it's going to be. Like that happens to me sometimes even now. And I've been doing this for many years now. It's really frightening how many years. All right, got 3 more. Three more and I'm done. Yay! I feel like I want to have a party. All right, 2 more. I thought, oh, Mary says, I had 50 minutes of pedaling and a batch of peanut butter cookies. Wow. Good job, Mary. Gold star. I've upped, when I go to the gym, I've upped my, I do the treadmill or the Stairmaster for 45 minutes. I upped that from a half an hour. When I hike, it's an hour and 20 minutes. All right, 1 more, and then I'm going to be done for today. So I really thank everybody who hung out with me this whole time. This is like a bonus session of Pleat-O-Rama. All right, last one. Here we go. All right, I'm going to end this right here. Okay. All right, so let's see what we have. I'm going to fold it in half. I mean, that looks big enough to fit me. I mean, look how big it is. All right, let me just see if I can wrap it around me. Hold on. Hold on. Let me just see. Let me go for the side. Oh, I guess maybe it does wrap around. Oh, it makes it. All right, so see? And it will hit just, it'll cover the tops of my knees. So I think, right, swishy, swishy. So I think we're good. So I'm gonna, all right, so if you look at the side here, I don't know that I want to pull it any tighter. Well, no, I can, because I can pinch out some, but I have 2 big panels here, so I might have to maybe put 1 more and then put a few more pleats in just so it's pleated all the way around, but that fits me. Okay. All right. And I have more strips cut. I don't have to. Yeah, so I'm pretty excited about this. All right, let me just stop and see what everyone's saying before I sign off. Okay. Barbara says, congrats. You Take My Life Away says, I hope I can find a book for my machine. There are stitches in the dial. I don't know what they are. That's really pretty. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, Mary says I put on 1 more panel. I think I am going to put on 1 more so I can pleat it up to the end. I don't want to have like a big wide patch of no gather. So I think I am going to put another panel just to finish that up. Polly says, very nice. Barbara says 1 or 2 more. Yeah, I'm going to. And I have a bunch more of strips that I don't have to cut new ones. So I've got a few different ones I can
do here. I probably have I'm not going to use this little skinny nasty one. Those little skinny ones are hard to pleat. So this one's going in the, not in the pile. But I do have some, so I'm going to finish that up. And yay! So thank you guys. So just to recap, I'm going to sew together my shorts. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure that the shorts are a little bit snugger around the waist than the waistline, because then when I sew them together, the skirt won't be strained. Like the shorts will stretch to fit my body and the skirt will be a little bit more relaxed. I don't like to have the skirt pressed up against me. And then I'm just going to put like a yoga pants waistband on top. So that's how I'm going to finish this. And I will certainly model this for you finished in 2 weeks. Okay, I'll have it finished in 2 weeks. And we'll start with a new project. So I have 2 weeks to come up with our next fun project that we'll be working on Fab Fit Friday. And yeah, so I really thank you for spending 2 hours with me on Valentine's Day. That's a Valentine's Day present for me. Thank you. And if anybody has any questions or comments, or if you're working on this, please email me. And just, I'm going to put in the chat my email. So if you take my life wants to, at Gmail, that's my email. I'm sorry, it's all in caps, but just email me there and I'll try to find you the workbook. Oh, Barbara says, I can't wait to see it with shorts. Oh, and you take your life. My life wants to know if these are scheduled. I'm always, well, when I'm home, it's at 1 o'clock Eastern Standard Time that I'm live on Fridays. So Fab Fit Friday is usually 1 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, but remember, I'm not going to be here next week because I'm going to be teaching. But then I will be back, and the next time I'll have to take a Friday off is when I'm teaching my 3-day pants fitting in March. March 21st will be the next day I have to take off from Fab Fit Friday. So I always miss you guys when I'm not here for Fridays, I will admit it. So thank you guys so much for hanging out with me. Happy Valentine's Day to everybody. And oh, Mary says I would make that skirt just above the knee. It hovers like right at the top of my knee. I like my knee to be slightly obscured because I've got like crash and burn knees when I wear a skirt. So it's going to be short. It's not going to be below my knee. So I think it's going to be a good length. And of course I can trim it if it's too long. So I will work on that. But anyway, thank you guys so much. And I'm going to sign off because I'm going to go for my little hike. And then, I don't know, I think my husband said he's going to make me dinner. Like, as long as I don't have to cook dinner, I am golden today. I'm excited about that. So there you are. Oh, happy Valentine's Day, Janie. All right, you guys have a wonderful day. And I can't thank you enough for hanging out with me for 2 hours, watching me sew these pleat up the strippy fabric. That really helped me power through and finish it. So thank you, thank you, thank you. I really appreciate it. All right. Oh, you wrote my email address down. Thank you for helping me and sharing your skills with us. Oh, my pleasure. My pleasure. I love this. I love helping. I love teaching, and I love Fab Fit Friday. So thank you guys so much. All right. I'm going to sign off. Have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you in 2 weeks. All right. There will be Cool Tool and there will be Fit Tip Tuesday though. So I won't be completely gone next week. There just won't be a live. All right. Bye.